Tribune Publishing Company is an American newspaper print and online media publishing company. Incorporated under Delaware's General Corporation Law and based in Chicago, Illinois. The company's portfolio includes the Chicago Tribune, the New York Daily News, the Baltimore Sun, the Orlando Sentinel, South Florida's Sun Sentinel, the Virginian Pilot, the Hartford Courant, additional titles in Pennsylvania and Virginia, syndication operations, and websites. It also publishes several local newspapers in its metropolitan regions, which are organized in subsidiary groups. Incorporated in 1847 with the founding of the Chicago Tribune, Tribune Publishing operated as a division of the Tribune Company, a Chicago-based multimedia conglomerate, until it was spun off into a separate public company in August 2014. The company confirmed its sale to hedge fund Alden Global Capital on May 21, 2021. The transaction is set to close on June 30, 2021. Prior to this acquisition, Tribune Publishing was the nation's third largest newspaper publisher, with 11 daily newspapers and commuter tabloids throughout the United States. Tribune Publishing's history dates back to 1847, when the Chicago Tribune published its first edition on June 10 of that year, in a one-room plant at LaSalle and Lake Streets in Chicago. The Tribune constructed its first building, a four-story structure at Dearborn and Madison Streets, in 1869. However, the building was destroyed, along with most of the city, by the Great Chicago Fire in October 1871. The Tribune resumed printing 2 days later with an editorial declaring, "Chicago shall rise again." The newspaper's editor and part owner, Joseph Medill, was elected mayor and led the city's reconstruction. A native Ohioan who first acquired an interest in the Tribune in 1855. Medill gained full control of the newspaper in 1874 and ran it until his death in 1899. Medill's two grandsons, cousins Robert R. McCormack and Joseph Medill Patterson, assumed leadership of the company in 1911. That same year, the Chicago Tribune's first newsprint mill opened in Thorold, Ontario, Canada. The mill marked the beginnings of the Canadian newsprint producer later known as QUNO, in which Tribune held an investment interest until 1995. The Chicago Tribune New York News Syndicate was formed in 1918, leading to Joseph Patterson's establishment of the company's second newspaper, the New York Daily News, on June 26, 1919. Tribune's ownership of the New York City tabloid was considered interlocking due to an agreement between McCormack and Patterson. The company acquired the Fort Lauderdale-based Sun Sentinel newspaper in 1963. This was later followed by its purchase of the Orlando Sentinel in 1965. In 1973, the company began sharing stories among 25 subscriber newspapers via the newly formed news service, the Night News Wire. By 1990, this service was known as Night Reader Tribune and provided graphics, photo, and news content to its member newspapers. KRT became McClatchy Tribune Information Services, which is owned by the Tribune Company and McClatchy, when the McClatchy Company purchased Night Reader Inc. in 2006. Tribune later acquired the Newport News, Virginia-based daily press in 1986, in the wake of a dispute with some of its labor unions. The New York Daily News was sold to British businessman Robert Maxwell in 1991. In June 2000, Tribune acquired the Los Angeles-based Times Mirror Company in a merger deal worth $8.3 billion, which was the largest acquisition in the history of the newspaper industry. The merger added 7 daily newspapers to Tribune's portfolio, including the Los Angeles Times, the Long Island-based Newsday, the Baltimore Sun, and the Hartford Courant. Tribune Media Net, the national advertising sales organization of Tribune Publishing, was established in 2000 to take advantage of the company's expanded scale and scope. Later in the decade, Tribune launched daily newspapers targeting urban commuters, including the Chicago Tribune's Red Eye edition in 2002, followed by an investment in AM New York 1 year later. In 2006, Tribune acquired the minority equity interest in AM New York, giving it full ownership of the newspaper. The company sold both Newsday and AM New York to Cablevision Systems Corporation in 2008, with the sale of the latter paper closing on July 29 of that year. On April 2, 2007, Chicago-based investor Sam Zell announced plans to buy out the Tribune Company for $34 a share, totaling $8.2 billion, with intentions to take the company private. The deal was approved by 97% of the company's shareholders on August 21, 2007. Privatization of the Tribune Company occurred on December 20, 2007, with Tribune stock listing being terminated at the close of the trading day. On December 8, 2008, faced with a high debt load totaling $13 billion, related to the company's leveraged buyout and subsequent privatization, and a sharp downturn in newspaper advertising revenue, Tribune filed for Chapter